Two-toed sloth is like a slinky, so watch, he can rotate till his hips are basically 180 from his shoulders, right? So a two-toed sloth can crank really far around. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So this is his breakfast. You guys are going to feed him this breakfast, all of it. You don't have to jam it into him like a fire hose, or let him chew his food in between bites. You know, your mom will tell you to lay your fork down between bites. Same way with the sloth. Give him a bite, then let him chew it, then give him another one. So alive in the world today, there are two-fingered sloths and three-fingered sloths. Historically, they call them two-toed and three-toed. They're starting to call them two-fingered, three-fingered. It makes more sense because they all have three toes on the back feet. Two-fingered have two on the front feet. Three-fingered have three on the front feet. There's some other basic differences between them. A three-fingered sloth has 9 vertebrae in their cervical spine from their skull to their shoulders, and they have 3 vertebrae of a tail. A two-toed has no tail, and it has 5 vertebrae in its cervical spine. So the 4 that are missing from here and the 3 that are missing from there are all between the hips and shoulders of the two-toed sloth. And that is why the two-toed will turn, if this is his shoulders and these are his hips, he can turn until he's basically 180 out because he's got all the extra vertebrae between his hips and his shoulders. The three-toed, three-fingered, has way more vertebrae in their cervical spine, so they will turn their head 270 around like an owl, like this. The three-toed sloth is a little bit smaller and a little bit slower than a two-fingered sloth is. But to describe a two-fingered sloth as faster than anything in the mammal kingdom, you could only be talking about a three-fingered sloth. Collectively, they are the slowest mammals in the world. While we're doing this, you guys are welcome to stand approximately this close to the sloth to take your pictures and selfies and whatnot. You can stand on both sides of them, you can stand all around them to get a family picture. We are happy to take your pictures for you. You can take all the pictures and all the videos you want. Dad, you're doing a great job so far, but don't fall short on taking a picture of your lovely wife with a sloth, all right? So, and yeah, you can stand like right up with him. He's not looking to bite you, just if you stick your finger inside of his mouth, you know. Don't put your finger in his, oh, I just banged into him and he's like, oh, well, that's you.
Now he just got annoyed. He's like, I'm going to go pie.
No, he's good. Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Are we going to feed the other sloth?
We're going to hold the other sloth. Zoe. Come here, buddy.
Zoe.
Hey, Bubble. Come on back down. Come on back down. Here you go. So he'll hang all the way down and you can just stand next to him. So,
Oh, there it goes.
Here you go. You want to give it to him, Emmy? There you go. Almost. Go a little closer. Don't go down. There you go.
so if you guys all turn this way, Dad, you want to stand behind your son there and I'll take the picture for you. That's a cool color of a case.
Oh.
I'll give him another piece so he hangs back down.
Okay.
Lovely.
Come on. This way.
Hey, Flash. Come here, buddy.
You want to eat this? Come on. Come on. Come on, you gotta come down to eat it.
Flash.
Come on, you gotta come down if you want to eat it. You're so close. Come on. Come on. All right, I'll give this one to you. There you go. Do they like fruits and stuff too, or?
They love them, but they can't have too much of them.
Oh, really?
They get 3 servings of fruit in a week, and they get 2 hard-boiled eggs a week.
Why can't? What is?
Too much sugar, too much bacteria. Too little sugar, too little bacteria. They have a really, really carefully controlled diet.
Tuesdays and Fridays eggs.
Yeah.
I can't have the turtle.
Hi, come here.
Yeah, I see that.
You're stubborn, huh?
So sloths are slow. Sloths are famously slow. But sloths are slow in ways you don't think about a sloth being slow. He'll wake up in a minute. We'll do the picture again in a minute. He'll banged into him with my head. That's okay. Don't hang down in a minute.
He come back around.
So sloths are slow in ways that you don't think about a sloth being slow. So they're slow not only in their movement, they're slow in their digestion, metabolism, metabolic processes, growth, life. They're slow in every single way. So slow in their digestion. A sloth eats a tremendous amount of food, 10% of their body weight every single day. So that's a ho-hum number till you put it in human perspective. I weigh 180. That's me rolling into Outback and saying, bring me 18 of the 16-ounce porterhouse steaks, and I'm going to plow them all down right now. So they eat a tremendous amount of food, but they digest really slowly, and it's really poor quality food, almost all leaves. So he's eating 10% of his body weight every single day, and yet going to the bathroom only once in 7 to 10 days, 3 or 4 times a month. When they do go to the bathroom, they are going to drop approximately 1/3 of their full body mass when they go.
That's pretty
That's
serious.
solid and liquid at the same time. They don't even tinkle between trips down the tree. So when the sloth goes to the bathroom 1/3, again, human perspective, I weigh 180. Divide that by 3 and feel the shudder. So go on to another topic. But so if he's going to eliminate 1/3 of his mass, that means that he did metabolize, as in convert from food to energy, 2/3 of what he ate. It's just that what he is eating in the rainforest is almost exclusively leaves, so they are of very little nutritional value. That is what makes sloths slow in every single way, is they work on a really, really low metabolic budget. So when they are in the tops of the trees, they are entirely safe from predators with the exception of eagles, because the sloth is really light. He only weighs 15 pounds, so he can go much, much further out the branch than a predator large enough to threaten his life can go. So the sloth can go way out the branch. If a big old cat tries to follow him out there, to the point that the branch breaks and they fall all the way to the ground, and so they might drop 100 feet from the ceiling to the floor of the rainforest. The sloth will almost certainly survive that fall. Just keep giving them some pieces there, buddy, and then you can all get in there for your picture. So, young man, if you want to stand in front of your dad, and Emerson stand in front of your mom, we'll get you a nice family picture right there.
There you go.
And I'm just going to burn 100, and mom can sort these on the way home, right? I don't have my reading glasses on, so I can't see very well what I'm taking a picture of, but hopefully it'll be good somewhere in there.
Thank you.
So the sloth is, when he's in the top of the tree, he's almost entirely safe. If the cat follows him out to the point that it breaks and the whole mess falls 100 feet to the ground, the sloth will almost certainly survive, and the cat will almost certainly die. And the sloth will look over and say, ha, ha,
Very
and back up the tree he will go. And cat will lay there dead. And yet, the sloth is going to come down the same tree, same side of the tree, every single time to go to the bathroom. And so you'll get your best picture when you put your hand back down, so your hand's not in front of your own face.
Gotcha. Now you're going to go away again.
Oh no, he'll keep coming down. He's going to eat that whole dish.
Who painted this for you?
TV Artista is her Instagram thing. Her name is Tiffany Benz, but if you're looking for her on Instagram because you want her to paint a mural for you, it's TV Artista, and she's down there by you.
Oh, really?
She's in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So yeah, if you want rooms in your house painted into whatever, she's got you. So the sloth, even though he's safe in the top of the tree, he comes all the way down, same tree, same side of the tree, and goes to the bathroom in the exact same place every single time. The reason for that is the sloth-moth symbiotic relationship. So in the wild, not here, sloths need moths and moths need sloths. There is a type of moth in the world called a sloth moth that lives nowhere on earth except in the fur and in the waste pile of a sloth. In the wild, the sloth can have between 100 and 150 moths living in his fur at all times. Yeah, it's frightening to think about, right?
Yeah.
So the sloth, it is a symbiotic relationship. So, you know, as science moves forward on sloths and on everything else, they start out with some stupid ideas and then kind of zero in on the correct ideas. So the first idea on why a sloth comes down the tree and goes to the bathroom in the exact same spot every single time is because they're neat animals. Obviously, that's a stupid thing. I mean, they're not the Adrian Monk of the rainforest, so they're not going to risk their life to come down and go to the bathroom just because they're a neat animal. Because when they come all the way down the tree, that puts them in range of all the large predators in the rainforest, and that is the normal cause of death of a sloth, is being caught by a big predator when they come all the way down.
Let me get that one.
So the next idea was that the sloth is fertilizing his own tree. Obviously, another stupid idea. If the sloth went to the bathroom from anywhere in his tree, it wouldn't matter where it fell. It's going to fall on top of the root system of that tree, and the fertilization effect is the same. So the actual reason why the sloth comes down, same tree, same side of the tree, every single time to go to the bathroom, is the sloth-moth symbiotic relationship. So the benefit, symbiotic, means beneficial to both sides. Parasitic would be beneficial to one side, neutral or harmful to the other side. The nature of that symbiosis is that the benefit to the moth is that the sloth is the living environment and the food source of the moths. So the moths are eating the moss and algae that grow all in the sloth's fur in the wild. The only reasons that the moths are going to leave the sloth in their lifetime is to drink water that pools up in the leaves and the top of the canopy, and to get into the waste pile to lay their eggs. So when the sloth comes down the tree, the moths, if you're trying to see in there, you can open this little thing right here. When the sloth comes down the tree, the moths jump down into the waste pile of the sloth and lay their eggs. And from there it's row, row, row your boat. So this week's eggs are next week's larvae, are 2 weeks away's moths. So every time that he comes down, there's new moths to fly up onto the sloth and live their whole life on the sloth. The benefit to the sloth is that the sloth digests its food by a bacterial process. We also have helpful gut bacteria, but we don't rely on them near as much as the sloth does. The sloth is eating really poor quality food that's hard to digest and of very little nutritional value. So our gut bacteria will last throughout our lives unless we take a long course of antibiotics. If we take a lot of antibiotics, we're going to need some probiotics or some Greek yogurt to fix ourselves back up. The sloth can't drive to GNC and he can't get to Publix, so he's not getting any Greek yogurt or any probiotics. So he needs a different source for his replacement gut bacteria. The source of that gut bacteria is the moths. As the sloth grooms himself, he licks up a certain amount of the moths themselves. That's a small amount of protein for the sloth. And he's going to lick up a certain amount of the waste of the moths. And that is going to be where he gets his replacement gut bacteria from.
Here's a little one.
Emerson, here you go, sweetheart.
It's the story of her life.
We got you covered, don't worry. And if she's standing on that, Dad, you're going to want to be standing over there for the pictures, all right? So, and Emerson, if you talk to him real quiet and you say, "Hey, Flash," and you stand right like this, he'll get his nose right over next to your nose. And if you put your finger out like this, a lot of time he'll put his finger out and put his finger to your finger. So you say, "Hey, Flash, come here, baby. Come here, Flash. Good boy, Flash." Give me his piece of food and he'll come right over there.
I think he likes the green beans right now.
Green beans are his favorite, yep. Hey, Flash. Just be still and he'll come right back to you. So the sloth benefits from the protein from the moths and the bacteria that digests his food from the moths. And then the third theoretical benefit is that the moths are fertilizing by their waste the moss and algae that's all in the sloth's fur, and that is further disguise against eagles, which are the only predators that can get him up in the tops of the trees. So he very much benefits from the moths. Here in captivity, he doesn't need the moths. What kills his gut bacteria is cold temperature. Here it's always 78 degrees in this room, so he never ever gets cold. So he doesn't need to replace the gut bacteria, just like we don't need to replace ours unless we take antibiotics. So Thankfully, he doesn't have 150 moths living in his fur, or this would not be the same experience. So I always give a disclaimer on all of my lives. Please don't look at what we're doing here and get the impression it would be a good idea to go buy yourself a sloth. It is not. If you find a sloth available on the internet that is a wild animal, it was kidnapped out of the rainforest and is being sold for a pet, you are buying a wild animal. It will not be good for the animal. It will not be good for you. Please don't do that. And if you're going to a sloth encounter, please look and see if they are operating ethically. The way we do it here, all of our animals are multiple generations of captive bred. All of our sloths do only 2 encounters per day. That is it. You do see 4 people in this room right now. That is not the norm, but this is 2 bookings back to back. So this is the sloth. This will be the sloth's only encounter today because we have 4 people at once. It's usually 2 and then 2 more. But for a family group, sometimes we do it all at once. But the sloth doesn't have another encounter after this if we do 4 people at once. So the sloth. Other things about a sloth. He has horrible vision. So if we do one on the ladder at a time, that would be for the best there, Aiden. So that way we don't knock each other off. The sloth has horrible vision. If you look at his eyes, there's just pinpricks where his pupils are. And yeah, go ahead, sweetheart. Look at your dad, Emerson. There you go.
Just your brother get up here and take one good.
So the sloth, there's pinpricks where his pupils are. Even in this low level of light, we keep the lights in this room, he is seeing only shapes and shadows. So he really can't see the difference between me and your dad because we're the same size and shape. But because his vision is horrible, his sense of smell and hearing are absolutely wonderful. So the patience is going to be the key to the game there, Aiden. So hold the food out towards him and just wait. So remember, he's smelling it, he's not seeing it. It takes a little longer to smell something than it does to see something. So he's like, well, it's gone. He's not used to seeing 4 people at once, but it's okay. We'll be all right. So his eyes have a structure called rod monochromacy, which means he has all rod cells, no cone cells. So he never has color vision. Chromacy, chromatic, black and white. He sees only in black and white. He does see better in the night than he does in the day, but he doesn't see well ever. In bright daylight, he would be completely blind. In light like this, he's seeing shapes and shadows. At nighttime, he's mainly picking up movement more than specific things. But his vision is horrible. Consequently, his sense of smell and hearing are absolutely fantastic. He has an excellent sense of spatial awareness in his home range of trees in the rainforest. He just remembers where everything is, and he can cruise around as fast as a sloth goes, which is certainly not like a track star, but he can cruise around as fast as a sloth goes, completely blind. The sloth is crazy strong. Now, with orangutans, they'll tell you that an orangutan is 7 times stronger than a person. That's a combination of pound for pound and a combination of, that's a huge animal. This guy's obviously not stronger than a person because he's tiny, but pound for pound, he's much, much stronger than a person. He can do a 1-arm pull-up by any of his 4 arms and then hang there. But it's not a matter of strength that keeps him hanging in the tree. It's a matter of design. So for us, if we were trying to 2-arm hang from that branch, we could remember from PE class that a minute is a long time to hang, right? That's because this is our exertion. This is our exertion state. This is our relaxed state. This is exerting no energy. The sloth is the opposite. This is clamped down like this is his relaxed state. He's exerting no energy to be clamped down. Exertion is this. When he's opening up, that's his exertion state. It is so true that if the sloth was to die, he would not necessarily fall out of the tree. He could continue to hang there dead for days or weeks until something rotted or until something knocked him out of the tree.
Wow.
And the sloth has his long claw there, and if you look at the paw side of him, it's leather like a monkey's paw, sort of. So with that, you know, it's sort of like a giant pair of channel locks that it can grasp a wide variety diameters of branch. So anything from like the size of my thumb up to, about up to my knee, that he can grab with one hand. So in that tree in there, right where it turns and goes up, everything above that tree he can grasp one-handed. I mean, everything above that turn where the net is right there, that's one-handed. Everything below that, he would like two-handed lumberjack his way up it. The net there is, in case the sloth falls. In the wild, if he fell 100 feet to the rainforest floor, it's springy. There, he'd be hitting concrete.
Yeah.
So the net is in case the sloth should happen to fall. The sloth's teeth, when he opens his mouth to take a bite, get a view of those chompers. He's got huge teeth. He's got, so with a rodent, their two buck teeth are what grow throughout their life, and they sharpen them on external things like wood. With a sloth, his fang teeth are what grow throughout his life and sharpen against each other like this. Every time he opens and closes his mouth. When you're holding Zoe here in a few minutes, you'll hear a little, that's her sharpening her teeth against each other like this. And when you see Zoe here in a few minutes, she is nearing her adult mass, but she's nowhere near mature. And some differences you'll see when you look at him, and then when you see her. His claws are, 3 inches long? Her claws are about like this. His teeth are huge. Her teeth are still small. See when he opens his mouth how big those teeth are in there?
Yeah.
Big teeth. Hers are still small, like that. And his hair is, I don't know, what is that, maybe 4 inches? The longest of his hairs. Hers are about half of that. So she is approaching her full adult mass, but nowhere near her full maturity level.
So when would that be?
About 3.5 years old is when she'll be a mature animal. He is 6 years old, she is 14 months old, and the baby is 5 months old. And so that's an open question. In the wild, they're a prey animal, so they're gonna die being caught by a predator when they come down to go to the bathroom. So they say on average a wild sloth is about 20 years. If you steal a sloth out of the rainforest and try to make it as pet, those animals often don't make it 2 months because it's so doggone stressful to them. Kind of like if you tried to grab a white-tailed deer and have it live in your living room, it's just not going to go well. But a captive bred sloth that is never preyed upon, so it's going to, die of old age, they can live 50 years. And so if you're as a owner of a sloth, I have to be thinking about what he's doing in 50 years because I'm not likely to still be here. And, if you have a parrot that's going to outlive you, you can will it to somebody. Move the bird's cage, good to go. This guy, you can't move him. You have to have a big, huge environment like this that is, around 80 degrees and 50% relative humidity forever. It takes a lot of money to take care of a sloth. So these are things that really have to be considered well in advance. That's another reason why, normal people ought not to own a sloth. And I'm not aware of any responsible breeder that would sell a sloth just to a private individual. There's a lot to it.
Doesn't like these.
Well, it's like you, if your mom offers you candy or veggies, the candy probably goes first.
Yeah.
So
He was just a fan of the green beans.
yeah, he likes all of his food, but the sloth gets all the food that he wants. And if he doesn't eat his food right now, if he didn't come down to his encounter at all, we would go to another sloth, and there would be no harm, no foul. His same food that he gets on his encounter would go into his room, and he would just eat it later. There is no repercussion to the sloth for not feeling like playing on a given day. It's fine. I had a bad day before once too. And
So then this food you just put in there and he
yeah, that
eats
little
it
thing
whenever
right
he
there is a
wants?
rotating feeder.
Okay.
That dish fits in that feeder, and that same dish will go in his room if he doesn't eat all his
And then
food
he
on
just
his
eats it when he
encounter.
wants it.
And then he eats leaves, free choice through the day and night. His diet is 7 ounces of veggies in the morning, and then leaves all he wants. He'll eat about a pound of them. And then he gets a few of these biscuits right here that are good for his teeth. And these leaf eater biscuits, they're good for him nutritionally. They taste exactly like Life cereal. If you eat Life cereal dry, that's exactly what this tastes like. And I have eaten a lot of those before. And he gets 2 hard-boiled eggs a week, and he gets 3 servings of fruit a week. And his servings of fruit can be various different fruits. And his leaves can be, you know, spinach, spring mix, romaine, kale, just basically any leafy green he is able to eat.
And any kind of fruits?
He doesn't like that many different kinds of fruits. I mean, they don't get them very often in the rainforest, but he does eat. His favorite is a banana, and he hasn't had a mango in a long time, but when he gets a mango, boy, it's smeared all over his
I
whole
was gonna
face.
say, I wonder, does he like mangoes?
He does. You'd have to scroll way back to find the mango day. I don't think we posted that in 6 months, have we?
Yeah, it was during the summer or fall.
Say what?
It was during the summer or fall for sure.
Yeah, it was when mangoes were in season. Yeah, he loves a mango. He likes apples, and but he doesn't really like any kind of berries. Yeah. All right, we're gonna reset the space here and let Flash go up to bed, and then we're gonna be ready for the next sloth. And but stay right here. You guys are gonna get to see the way that he goes up to where he actually lives. This is not where he lives. This is where he does his encounters, and he is gonna go up to his bed now. And he's going to take a nap for about the next 4 hours. You guys are welcome to walk in there and see the way he goes up. And he's going to move quicker than you likely think he will move.
He
Go
looks
right on
pretty
in.
excited.
We can go.
Well, so we're a little late on schedule today, so it is his nap time, and he is ready to go up and go to sleep. No, can you? McKenna did everything except the kangaroos. Can you do the kangaroos?
And then I saw tutorial, you have sloths and kangaroos, I think. I'll do the big ones at tutorial.
Okay, good. So we will soon be having live cameras here, and if you guys are on our live cameras and you're trying to orient what you're seeing to what you experience, the camera is up there. So the camera will be looking down.
Okay.
So if you're on our live cams and you're like, this doesn't look like what I saw, it's because the camera's up there looking down. You're down here looking up.
Okay, gotcha.
So the live cameras, it'll be up, and then the next, I don't know. We keep thinking it'll be a week. Sometimes it turns out a month, but
so
whatever.
Is he just laying in that little hammock?
Yeah, he loves his hammock. So he can he'll sleep in the crooks of the branches, or he'll sleep in the hammock. And these nozzles over here are to make it rain in this room. So when he wants to take a bath, obviously in the rainforest, that's rain. So he takes a bath in the rain in here, and yeah, it's just very, very designed for a sloth.
Oh, that's so cute. I would imagine he would be really.
So the big window up there, that's the camel condo. So that's the living room of the camel condo.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let me grab a couple more chairs. We only have two because we only usually do two at a time, but whoever's holding Zoe can sit in the chair and everybody else can hang and watch. And
that would be me.
I mean,
No, I love you. Mom.
What do you need, John?
just a second chair.
I really want
Maybe some tissues.
You want the third
I think the other one was, no, we'll be good with two. It should be here somewhere. It's behind her. All right, this is Zoe, the Snuggie, the stuffed animal right there. All right, so this is Zoe, guys, and you're going to get to hold Zoe. And Zoe likes to be held and petted very specifically. So you support her underneath like this, and she'll hold on less hard around your neck. And you pet her like this, slow like a sloth. She transfers on her Snuggie, and I'm going to say to her, "Night-night, Zoe." And that's how she knows she's going to see another person. And you don't have to grab her. She's just going to hang around your neck like that. And support her underneath, either with your hand or with your arm. And Zoe is our cute little baby girl. We don't still call her the baby. We call her, she's a juvenile. She is 14 months old. you probably want to stand where I'm standing so you get better pictures. And Zoe is also a two-fingered Linnaeus sloth, and she likes to be petted slow as a sloth. And so Zoe just started transitioning down here on her birthday, which was December 16th. So they live in the house until they're a year old. Then they start to come down here at a year. They come down for encounters before that, but they don't stay down here. And so starting in December, she would spend an extra hour a day and then, build up over time to get used to her new environment down here. So she's right now at the point that she spends maybe, 6 nights a week down here, one up at the house. And she absolutely loves to be held by people. So the difference between her and Flash has never been held. I have never held Flash. I am Flash's person. I have been with Flash at least an hour a day. I think I've missed 20 days in 3.5 years. Barring that, I've been with him at least an hour a day for 3.5 years. But we interact with all our animals here in the way that they are comfortable with. Not necessarily what I want them to do, but what they are comfortable with. So Flash, when I'm in here by myself with him, he lays his face against my face and he rubs his nose around my face and he puts his hands all in my hair like this. And he lays up against me like this. But he has never made any move to move onto my body, meaning that's not something he wants to do. That's fine. We interact with him the way that he likes. But the baby sloths come to us from a breeder who raises ambassador animals. He's a doctor of veterinary medicine. He's been doing it for 30 years. As far as I know, he is the #1 sloth expert there is. He's raising ambassadors. So these babies are being held by people from 14 days old for all of their life. But they always go back to their mother before they're weaned. After they're weaned, sloths are solitary animals in the rainforest. They live completely alone. A male and a female will come together once in a year or two for a couple of minutes to mate, and that is it. Beyond that, they are entirely solitary animals. But his mother animals are clicker trained. Click, 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 gonna take the baby, but it'll be right back. So it doesn't stress the mothers, and therefore it doesn't stress the babies. So the babies, starting from day 14, are held for 30 seconds and 45, then a minute, so on and so forth, until by the time the mother has weaned the baby, they are being held for 30, 45 minutes at a time, several times a day. But they go back to their mother. So they get all the social, nutritional benefit of being a mother-raised animal, while at the same time getting all the social benefit of being a people-raised animal. So they are entirely oriented people. They only do 2 encounters a day, so it's the high point of their day. Today she'll only have 1 encounter because there's 4 of you, but they only do 2 encounters a day, and it's the high point of their day. They look forward to it. They love people. And we're not so much guarded about that time spent with the sloth as the number of people with the sloth. I think the places that hand them from person to person to person to person to person all day long, I don't think that's the best thing for the animal. And so the goals of this company, business, whatever, are glorify Jesus Christ in everything we do and say, make a quiet place for people to make lifetime memories with their own family and friends, and to provide exceptional care to our animals that we love every one of them, or we wouldn't have them. But so that's the difference between the babies and Flash, is being people-oriented from birth forward. And so for her whole life, she will be a people animal. And I said earlier that she is approaching her full adult size, but nowhere near her adult maturity. So if you look at her claws and look at her teeth and look at her hair coat, she's nowhere near mature. Yeah, and the sloth's claws, the last bone of their finger is inside of the claw. So if you see a skeleton of a sloth, their bone is as long as the claw is. I do most of the educating with the older one. With the baby, I find a lot of people don't hear a single word I said anyway. Because it's just,
baby.
Yeah, holding a baby, and the other guy's standing there, wah, 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 like Charlie Brown. Did you go to space camp, Emerson?
Sure.
Did you go to space camp?
Yes.
Oh, somebody was here recently had a
Oh,
shirt
really?
just like that, and they said they got it at space camp down there in Huntsville.
I was about to say I went to that when I was that was pretty cool back then. I didn't know if they still had that.
We visited it when my little boy was little, but he didn't stay for space camp. We were just there for a day.
So,
Can't get your head around how big that doggone rocket is
I know.
until you see it, right?
that's a good idea. I forgot about that place.
Yeah, the Space and Rocket Center down there in Huntsville.
I grew up in Alabama.
Oh, where about?
Birmingham, south of Birmingham, Shelby.
Oh, okay. So I have a brother that lives on Inverness Parkway in
Oh, yeah.
Denver. He works at UAB, and my sister was on staff at Church of the Highlands for more than a decade. She just moved to Tennessee though, and I have a brother that lives in Trussville, and a sister that lives in. She just moved. I think she's still in Trussville. She was in Trussville.
Yeah, it was all around there.
My mom lived in Leeds for 26 years.
My stepmother taught there for 30 years.
In Leeds? Oh, what's her name?
Pam Rife.
Rife. I was
She was in middle school there.
Oh, okay. I went my senior year of high school to Leeds. That was the only year I was there, and that was I graduated in 1987. So
She was at the middle school there.
yeah. Before they built all new schools there.
I didn't know. I haven't seen that.
I guess that was who's the basketball player that's from there?
Charles Barkley.
Yeah, Barkley spent
Yeah,
millions of dollars to build schools in Leeds.
She taught his in a study hall or something like that.
Oh yeah.
It's funny that neighborhood wasn't the greatest, and then you pull in front of the school, and there was his mom's house where he rebuilt her whole house and fenced it in.
Yeah. I've lived my whole life in the Midwest. Lived in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and then my family moved to Alabama. And the first year that we lived there was in Mountain Brook, and we were incredibly poor people.
That place is.
And the reason that we lived there is some guy didn't want his wife getting half of anything, so he was renting us a mansion for $600 a month. And but it was like the Clampetts came to town. I mean, I was driving a 1970 Olds 4-door Delta 88, and everybody else is riding the school in G-Wagons.
Yep.
And
It's a different area still.
yeah. So then we moved from Mountain Brook to Leeds, so I got culture shock 2 years in a row, you know, moving from the Midwest to Mountain Brook, and then moving from Mountain Brook to Leeds. So very, very diverse high school education.
The Green Wave was that?
Yeah, right.
That was their mascot.
Then I joined the Navy and never went back to Alabama. Hey,
Hi. We don't have any more spinach or anything like that for Willie in that kitchen.
oh yeah, there's plenty right there.
I'll just take mustard greens. Bye, Mr. Green.
See you, McCann.
They're still.
So she weighs her basic weight is 11. Right now she probably weighs 14. I weighed her the last time she went to the bathroom. I happened to have weighed her the night before. She was 14 and a half. The next morning she was 11.1. So it really is a third of their weight when they eliminate. And she is nearing her full time to go right now. So if you look at this video and then you look again in a couple days, she'll be more cylinder shaped instead of like a little fat Buddha that she is right now.
And let your brother sit where he can get a picture, okay? Come on. Look like you're taking a moose back.
Emerson, she might like to eat some of these little veggies if you two would like to take turns giving her little bites. You say,
Smell something.
zo.
Smell it. Jumps on that one. Better get that one down, buddy.
He's like hugging me. Oh, that's yummy.
He's like, oh, you got another one of those. Dad, are you gonna have a turn holding, or is it all about Mom?
That one.
Yeah.
You can hold
I'm okay.
We often have a sloth enabler and a sloth lover.
Yeah.
That'll be us.
This is closer than Costa
I
Rica.
love sloths.
So the government of Costa Rica is working really hard on educating people against sloth holding. And the reason for that is the trade of wild animals is getting just crazy. And again, for anybody online that just joined us, please don't look at what we're doing and think it's a good idea to buy yourself a sloth. It is not. If you find a sloth for sale on the internet, that is an animal that was kidnapped out of the rainforest. It will not be anything like this. Please don't try to do it. And if you are doing a sloth encounter, please look carefully at the place that you're going. If you look at ours, you'll see that our sloths are booked a total of 2 times per day. That is it. It is not just about the money, it is about the lifetime experience of cuddling a sloth that genuinely enjoys it, isn't just being forced to perform all day long. So I already gave a disclaimer earlier, but you know, people jump on and off of lives. And I do like to try to be clear. Please don't look at what we're doing and think that you should buy a sloth. That is a terrible, terrible idea.
My little tongue just sticks out.
So with many of our animals, we find that animals mirror people. So if you put a nervous, excited person on a horse, you get a nervous, excited horse. With most people, people mirror the sloth. So when you hold a sloth, there's just a sense of calm that you really can't explain.
Yeah.
And people hold a sloth and just kind of exhale, you know.
You want to give her one?
That's okay.
Oh,
My stepdad, when I was growing up, did